So, in all our series, we had discussed about 3 C's that we were to discuss, which were important in international trade. So, we have discussed about communication and coordination. Today, we are going to discuss about compliance. Compliance is very, very important. We love to hate it, but still, we need to do it. Be it EDPMS regularization, be it IDPMS regularization, be it EBRC, करना है तो करना है. Now, compliance becomes a headache when we do not follow it properly, or when we try to turn it or bend it as per our requirements. So, I'll share a case study with you where compliance was taken very lightly, or I would say they tried to bend the compliance as per their requirement. So, there was two party A and party B. So, the party A was into exports and imports transactions. So party A had exported something to party B, and this party B was outside India. Party A is an Indian exporter. So party A and party B are there. Party B is a overseas company. Party A is an Indian company. So party A is a regular exporter and they do import, but to a smaller amount. And party B, which is based in overseas location, buys usually from party A and also from some other parties and sells also. So both of these are exporter importer. Now, party A has exported certain goods to party B overseas. And in the second parallel transaction, party B has sold some goods to party C. Now, party A and party C both are in India. Unfortunately, because of some challenges, party B, which is an overseas company, has liquidated, gone into loss. Party C, to whom the goods were sold, they also faced some problem and they were not able to release the goods. Now, these three parties became interconnected. How? Party A sold the goods to party B, but since the party B went into loss, they were not able to make the payment for the exports. And the goods that were sold by party B to party C, which party C was not able to release, again, the goods are lying in the customs warehouse. Now, party A was so desperate कि हमने तो goods sell किया है party B को, हमें तो किसी की तरह पेमेंट चाहिए, या फिर हम एक तर्क लगाते हैं, जो माल पार्टी बी ने पार्टी सी को बेचा है, हम उसका ओनरशिप लेके उसको बेचते हैं. सो हमारा जो भी पैसा है जो पार्टी बी से लेना है, बिकॉज हमने कुछ माल उनको बेचा है, वो हमें मिल जाएगा एंड वी विल नॉट मेक द पेमेंट टू पार्टी. वेल, practical situations gives us so many different scenarios which cannot be documented or structured into maybe say about FEMA or compliance or DGFT or customs guidelines. Agreed, every situation is a new situation, but that doesn't mean that you try to bend the rules. So this party A decided that चलो एक काम करते हैं, हम लोग set of guidelines of RBI apply करते हैं. They tried taking the goods given to the party B into their account and setting it off as a set of transactions. But bill of entry अभी भी उनके नाम पे आना बाकी है. Since that did not work, they decided to go for a write-off. अब अगर आपको exports के write-off करने हैं, so there are a lot of ifs and buts and criterias like 5% or 10% or 15%, 20%. The percentage to which you can write off. What are the efforts that you have done to write off or follow up, etc. But obviously this company had a very clear-cut reason that the overseas company party B has liquidated. But who is going to give or get the proof of liquidation? So party A in India very clearly said, no, sorry, you just give us a write-off. We will not be able to share the certificate of liquidations of the party B. But we want the write-off. Now the compliance has a specific sets of requirement of the scenarios and the documentations, and it is a very structured manner that one needs to get any of the regularizations or write-off under FEMA. Just because I want it the way I want it, one should not go ahead and apply whatever is applicable. यानी अगर ये नहीं चला तो मैं दूसरा अपनाता, अगर वो ऑप्शन भी नहीं चला FEMA का तो मैं तीसरा ऑप्शन लगाता. This is not called compliance, it is called जुगाड़. Hence, be very, very particular how you want to get your entries closed in a logical and a compliant manner.